Today we'll be looking at using the Terastation 5000 series to set up the surveillance system. So what I have here is the Terastation 5800. I'm going to go ahead and just log in. First thing you want to do on your Terastation is activate the surveillance service. This is pretty easy. You just want to go into File Share, go into your folder setup, and create a share. This is only going to work with the regular NAS share. It's not going to work with an iSCSI target. So you'll create a share. I've created one here with surveillance. You can remove everything but just the SMB if you want to be able to access it. Even that isn't completely necessary. So we'll just create an SMB share. And I'm going to go then to applications. And in applications is where you have your surveillance target service available. So this is going to be off by default. You can either flip it on and it'll force you to configure it, or you can go into the configure surveillance cameras and we're going to select edit. Here you want to select which LAN port you want to be actively receiving your incoming transmission from all of your cameras. So if we were to have LAN port 1 or 2, we could have the other LAN port available maybe for all of our users to access some data as well. So I'm going to configure mine for LAN port 1, and the folder for saving video, I'm going to go ahead and browse and you select the folder, hit OK. Then from there you'll hit OK one more time. In my case, no changes were made, and if it hasn't already, then you just want to activate the surveillance camera service. After that, we are done with the Terastation. This is now actively going to accept any transmissions from the software. So I have the Windows software here. I'm going to go ahead and close my browser and open up the Windows software. The first thing we want to open up is the camera policies. Now, I'm taking into account that you've already configured IP addresses for your cameras. If you haven't, I would take this time now to go ahead and assign static IP addresses to all of your cameras that are not inside your DHCP range. So I am going to be using 192.168.7.201 to 254 for my cameras. All of them are static in that range, and my DHCP range is 100 to 199 or 100 to 200, however you want to handle that. So I'm going to open up camera policies. You don't have to use Vault Admin initially. The Vault Admin tool that we have here will tell you what targets are available for recording. So in this case, my 5800, it's already added. You don't have to do anything. This is only going out and saying these are targets we found on your network that are able to receive recording. So this is all handled automatically, and I'm going to go ahead and minimize that and go into my camera policies. Now here, when you open it up, I've already configured a number of cameras. I have 16 different cameras that are configured and recording already to my 5800. What you want to do is first go into cameras. So you'll have nothing here. And I'm going to go ahead and add 4 new cameras that I've added to this system so you can see how that's done. So I'm going to go ahead into my cameras section. This again will also be blank. And I'm going to add my camera. There are a number of manufacturers. You can use whichever manufacturer camera you have. And I'm going to give myself a name. This name is going to be used for me to later reference in adding it into a camera policy. So I'll call this camera 17. Description, I am going to make as, let me check what I used for my previous ones actually, and then I'll do it that way. Looks like I'm assigning description as the last octet of the IP address, so go ahead and keep that format. So I'll have camera 17. It's going to be .17. And it's an access camera, so there are many views. You can use keyboard shortcuts and keys to get to it easily, or you can choose one of the many cameras that are available. And here is the model number. This gets updated with each versioning of the software. If there are new cameras that come out, then we'll get them added into this software, so that way you'll have it available. In my case, I am using M1054. Select that. It's automatically going to pull up how that video captures, putting the IP address of my camera and the username and password that I set. We would then need to select the recording computer. So in this case, it's the Terastation, and my 5800 is listed here. This software is able to manage from one location multiple Terastations and any cameras that you have on the network. It will automatically find your available Terastations as you saw previously, and we'll hit OK on that. And we could manage maybe 10 cameras going to one Terastation, 10 cameras to another one. Now, we officially on a 5000 support 10 cameras at 30 FPS. However, it's hard to say because there are different bit rates that can go through that you can adjust. You can adjust frame rates. You can adjust level of quality, black and white versus color. So there's more. You can use more cameras, and if you start to see degradation in your quality or the bandwidth throughput, then you might start scaling back your camera's abilities. But 10 cameras at maximum FPS of high quality cameras is what we officially support. I'm currently using 17 on here, and this is gonna work without fail. So I'm gonna actually add a camera 18. And you'll notice, because I've already added a camera, it's filled in a lot, assuming that I likely will be entering a very similar camera, so I didn't have to go in through select each one. I actually do, on the side you can see, I actually do have a couple different types of cameras. In that case, I do have to reselect and choose my recording computer each time. So I'm going to hit OK on that, and I'm going to go ahead and save here. Very important. If you don't save this, it won't end up in the next list. Now that I have them here, I need to associate the cameras that I titled them, which are these here, with policies that I'm going to create over here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a camera. I'm just going to call this M1054-217. And I'm going to go ahead and real quick create another one. So now that I have both of these cameras, I now need to assign which camera is going to be aimed at that policy. And this is going to be 218. And you'll notice they're already recording to my computer. I can set up scheduling. It's as soon as I add this and I hit this save button, it's going to start recording to that Terastation. The Terastation is going to start collecting data. This is going continuous. I could go through and hit selected times that if I only want to be able to if I have maybe a Terastation 5200 that has a certain capacity and I don't want to configure purge, then I want to be able to retain it, then I only want times of 3 to 5. Maybe I only want when the mailman is coming, I want to see what he's doing at my doorstep. So I'll go through and connect that. We're done in the camera policies. I have all of my policies configured in here. I have my 18 cameras stored. I hit save, so I'm going to close this. So now that I've added all my cameras to the policy, I'm going to go ahead and open up the live viewer. I'm actually going to open the camera policies as well, and that way I have a list of which camera models that I have available and what they're named. So in my live viewer, this is going to show you, based on what you place in there, your cameras, what they see. So you'll notice I already have it set to a 2x2 view. On the top right side, we can actually select up to a 4x4. This is, depending on your cameras, it can get somewhat CPU intensive, so depending on how many cameras you add. So I'm just going to I'm going to look for a couple cameras out here that are a little bit different. So I'll use 18, 9, 8, and 13. Camera 8. And I guess actually we'll go with 10. It's a couple different variable types. You'll notice I have some that are, I put in focus, some are out of focus. I just need to do a little tweaking on my end with my cameras. However, this is just showing that you can have some high def cameras going. I can go ahead and flip that to a 2x1 or a 3x1, however you want to do it to set up how many cameras you want to view. From what I would do here, if I have these specific cameras, 9, 8, 13, and 10, maybe all of these are in one room, you actually want to view and save layout as. And so I'm going to save this layout as maybe room 1. Over here in my layout section, you'll notice it's going to drop right in. And if I were to create a new one, so I'm going to go ahead and select a 3x2. And I'm going to just drop in a couple more cameras. I'm going to go ahead and add 18, 17. Just get some going. Maybe 11. Alright, so now that we have these cameras added in, you'll see that you can add this. I can go ahead and maybe save this as room 3, something like that, whatever I want to use to define it. And now it'll be available. If I want to go back to room 1, just double click on that. It's going to reload up that template. What you can also do with these layouts is use them as patrols. So a patrol is going to scroll either between singular cameras or layouts that you've configured. So I'll go ahead into my patrols. I'm going to right click and create a new patrol. And here I'm just going to call it patrol 1. We can up the delay. So 5 is the lowest second delay that we can do. And I'm going to add layouts. I'm going to add room 1. I'm going to add room 3. So now I have my layouts in there. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And open up my patrol by double clicking on that. And you'll notice now the patrol is going. I have new controls here where I can stop, pause, play. If I notice, whoa, there's somebody at camera 18, let me pause that. Let me take a look at what's going on. All right, everything's fine. I'm going to go ahead and hit play again. And I'm actually sitting in the chair over there. So you'll notice it's all live. As it's scrolling, it's going to scroll about 5 seconds or so right back. And you'll notice camera 15 right in the middle has me moving around. I can go ahead and pause that. I'm still moving. It's not pausing the frame. It's only pausing the patrol. So I'm going to go ahead and play that again, and I'll stop this patrol. It does pick up voice if you have voice activation on your cameras. All right, I'm going to go back to that layout 1. So here I am back in my first room 1 layout, which has 4 cams. You'll notice here on camera 10 at the bottom right that I have an icon here. I'm just going to hover over it. What it's showing me is that camera has a mechanical P to Z control. Now some cameras have digital, some have, or people want to be able to use digital. If you have a very high res camera, a lot of pixel density that you'll be able to get, you want to be able to zoom in a little bit on that. As well as if you have a mechanical, you want to be able to aim it. So the way to use this is I'm going to pull up my P to Z on the right. You can open and close these layers by just clicking on the name. So I can go full control over here. It's going to shrink down my available space there. So right now I only need P to Z. I'll close these other ones again. And what we need to do is not select just the Windows cell, but we need to select the title bar. You'll notice now it's highlighting it in blue. When it's highlighted in blue, I can start controlling that. Notice there I'm tapping my button for up. I can go ahead and just tap that, and you'll see me down there in the corner. Let's try scrolling that around. I actually have the camera a little bit upside down. We'll scroll it over. Maybe go down, and we'll zoom in. I have a little bit of zoom on that camera as well. Right now, this is using this camera's mechanical zoom. It has mechanical on it, so I'm going to be handling that. We've got a little focus control, and I'll zoom it back out. So that is how you activate and use the P to Z controls. Just remember, you have to select the cells bar. If you don't select that bar, the cameras, I'll show you here, if I hit camera 8, or I guess this one is going to be using now a digital P to Z. So I'm actually digitally enhancing this. It is not a mechanical P to Z camera. Looks like I loaded that one in full. So I'll tap on this one. You can see it a little better. If I just click it, it's doing nothing. My controls are dark. I don't have any ability to use controls. When I click on the cells bar, now I can start. This one doesn't have pan as I've not zoomed in yet, but I'm going to start zooming in on this. Again, this is not mechanical. This is digital pan to zoom right now. I'm zooming it in. This has a high enough pixel density to where we can get zoomed in on that, and it's still pretty clear. We're using the CSI calls it the enhance. So I am enhancing this picture right now. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom that back out. Or actually, I'm going to pan it. I'm now panning up digitally based on my enhanced zoomed in graphic. And now I'll zoom it back out. So full functionality, but you have to click on the cell's title. So important. That's how to use the live viewer. This is going to be what a lot of people want to be able to see. Just have that available. Notice something, be able to zoom in on that and get down some information. So I'll just click off of there, maybe onto this other camera. And I'm going to close this window, and I'm actually going to load up now the Surveillance Video Manager. Now, Surveillance Video Manager is how you view previously recorded data that's on the Terastation. So I happen to have, my cameras were going since last night. So I'm going to just specify a camera, maybe 5. And I'm going to go ahead and choose, I just want to be able to start yesterday and end today. So we just, any time, end of the day. It's going to now, when I hit search, it's going to look for any data that camera 5 has recorded on the Terastation from that time, through that time period. We see here, looks like it's been, this particular camera, unfortunately, just been looking at the floor. We can pull up the video on that, take a look. You can start instantly playing it. You'll also notice here this graph is showing small scales. This is actually almost looks like a graph chart that's going to graph how when activity has occurred. Perhaps something nudged the camera and now it's moved. It's like, well, activity hasn't occurred here. I want to look at around the time where activity did occur. I can go ahead and click over here. It's going to load up from where I clicked that video that I can start playing. And I can start exporting that video as well. So that way I can say, all right, this is the data I need. I need it from, let's just move that forward. Start viewing our data, and we can start cutting out the data. It's going to export this into a video file. I recommend using VLC. If you were to download the VLC player, looks like maybe we kicked the camera and it's going on the other side. Now it's recording some light. I'm going to go to my graph where there's a little bit of green. So if you download the VLC player, you'll have an opportunity to start watching that video. That's how I'm watching this. I have VLC installed. It has the codecs required to be able to watch this. And then we'll be able to do an export. Yep, looks like we moved the camera. So I might start even watching a little bit before that green and see what was going on. So I see here nothing immediately happening here, but if I were to start watching through, I'll bet I'd see around the green people would start moving the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that play and close this out. Or maybe I want to export it. It's going to put it in the export queue. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select a different camera. I'm going to select maybe camera 1. And we'll see what we get. The cameras, the video manager waits. It needs about 15 minutes to start collecting video before you're able to use this to start exporting video, because it has to have some type of data available from the feed to get a good representation. So I'm just going to look for anything here. We have some more search options if you want to get down into it. Which camera pool are you looking for? I just want any video stored. Again, if you have multiple Terrastations, it's going to list all your Terrastations here. I know that maybe I set up one that only has 10 cameras on it. Hey, I only want ones from that. I don't want to see everything. Just kind of get some little quicker view of your range. So here's some better data. I have here yellow. Already I know something's happening. What's going on with this? There's going to be some data in here. And we have somebody walking through. There you go. We have active data, quick, easy to find. Get that exported, and I can go ahead and just export my data. Oops, sorry. And select where we want it, what we're going to call our job, and so forth, and start my export. So anything that was in the export queue, after I set my export credentials here, it's going to start handling the export. I do not want to export that large file right now, so I'm going to go ahead and dismiss that and close out. So there's basic use of your Buffalo surveillance server. You can configure your camera policies. You can use the live viewer to start monitoring, zooming, pan to zoom, and then you can use the surveillance video manager tool to find when something occurred and be able to export it. Just let us know if you need any help, and we'll see if we can get another video coming in the future that shows how to manage your data service policies. Thank you.